Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the third day of our Booking Management Summit. And for this morning, first presentation from me will be with the title, Why Did You Do That? And that is actually a question we usually ask when we are interested to understand why people do some things or what is their motivation. So I will be talking a little bit more about people, about their let's say, psychological profiles that could help you to understand your clients, but also to understand better and have better cooperation with your co-workers, whether they are your employees or your colleagues at your firms, or they are partners you work with, but also you can view your clients as your partners in business and you have to cooperate with them on some occasions as well. So I imagine after this introduction, you would expect a person who is giving you this presentation to be a psychologist. That would be logical if the topic is work psychology. Actually, I'm not a psychologist, but I would say I'm something even better than that. Why would I say that? Because I work at Creativa, and we are a consulting company from Zagreb and also from Sarajevo. And we are now almost 25 years in the market. And what we do is business consulting for organization and for leaders and also for people who want to develop themselves. And in this company, all who ever worked and who work now are psychologists except for me. And I'm their boss. So imagine how much psychology I need to know in order to be the one who leads and motivates those whose job and whose profession is to understand people and to understand motivation. So that is why I tell you this joke that I'm better than psychologists. Actually, what I'm going to talk to you about today is something that I find very useful when I need to cooperate with other people and motivate other people, and also something that people who listen to me telling them this story also find it very easy to use because it is easy to understand. It is not many theory behind it. You will easily recognize some profiles of people I will talk to you about, and then I will give you some tips how you can improve your cooperation and motivation and even your selling proposals to persons who you recognize to be one of the types I will present. So the question behind the title was, why did you do that? So I could ask you to think a little bit, why did you join this summit? How come you are here now? And maybe you are already having some answers in your head, and maybe some of you are having answers like this. I'm here to meet with other people. I'm here to get something new, useful knowledge so I can be better at what I do. Maybe you are thinking, by being here, I can get some new connections, meet people, also learn something very useful. So in the end, all of that will make me be better than my competition. Maybe you are simply here because you want to share experience, or you are like me, a lecturer, and you have come here to share and show what you know. So this could be some of the reasons why you are here, and probably even if you had some of your answers in your head, you could also recognize yourself in some of these of my answers as well. So why do we do things the way we do them? Actually, the answer is quite complicated. So the psychologists tell us we could compare a person to an iceberg. You know, an iceberg, you are sailing in the ocean and then you come to the ice. You see one part of it below the sea level, but actually there is majority of that iceberg that is below the sea level. They say only 10% is what we can see. So psychologists say a person is also like that. What we see and what we understand from other people is only 10% of what they actually are. And they even say what we know about ourselves, what we are aware of about ourselves, is only 10% of what we actually are. So they tell us we are kind of like icebergs. And then they try to understand what is below the sea level and what is above the sea level if we talk about ourselves like icebergs. And they usually say, well, the thing that is, let's say, below the sea level, what we see about each other is, now you can see me standing, you can see my gestures, you can hear me talking. So all of that is my behavior. And I can also see your behavior. So behavior is something that we can observe. And then also you can a little bit get a clue about how I am at this moment, so you can know a little bit about my, let's say, current state of body and mind. First of all, you can see I'm awake. I'm not asleep. And I can also see you are awake. But I can see that many of you are quite peaceful. Those of you I can see, those of you who are online, sorry I can see you, but I expect you to be sitting as well and listening to this lecture. And so what is about that sea level is mainly our behavior and a little bit of our current state of body and mind. What would current state of body and mind actually be? Well, sometimes we are hungry. That is one state of body. And sometimes we are happy. That is one state of mind. And we could also be sad. And sometimes the reason why we do things is actually our current state of body and mind. So if I go eat something, it could be because I'm hungry, or for me, it could be sometimes because I'm sad. Maybe some of you also eat when they are sad. So we could be motivated by a current state of body and mind. But that is an impulse and short-term motivation. Why do we do things that we need to plan to be here for 3 days? We cannot just say, oh, I'll do it now. So we need to have some, let's say, deeper reasons. So now we will look at those deeper reasons why we do things the way we do them. First of all, we have some behavioral patterns. What is that? Well, one of the type of behavioral pattern is our working style. The other could be our communication style. We could also talk about our dressing style as a behavioral pattern. So it is when you have a sequence of behavior, sequence of decisions you usually make in the same way, and you make them because they feel right to you, they suit you in a way. And if you talk about working style, it is usually the thing that maybe you could look at it like this. You have people who like working with other people, they are good in teamwork. And you have other people who are better at work when they do work alone, but they are more individual persons. So one has a, let's say, team working style, and the other has individualistic working style. And if you have a job that gives you what you like. If you're a team player and you work in a team, then you feel good about that job. But if you're an individualistic type and work in a team, you struggle a little bit with that job. Fortunately, many jobs are a combination of the both, so both types can find something interesting in jobs for them. So that was just an example of what behavioral pattern could be. But that is not all the answer. There are more answers to the questions why we do things. The next answer to the question goes like this. When I asked you why you are here at this summit, maybe some of you had a thought like this. Well, of course I'm here. If I wouldn't be here, how else would I know what is new in the yacht charting industry? Or some of you maybe thought, well, everybody who is something in this business will be here, so of course I'm here as well. And if you had the thoughts like that, they give you a clue about your beliefs and attitudes towards this summit and towards your industry and business you're in. And sometimes we are motivated by our beliefs and attitudes. They are, as you see, very much below the sea level, which means that we are not usually aware of our beliefs and attitudes, and we also cannot see other people's beliefs and attitudes. So I don't know anything about your beliefs and attitudes right now, unless we start talking and maybe you tell me something that you are aware of. But if you ask yourself, do I have any line like this that goes like, I must do this because of, I should do this because of, I shouldn't do this because of. So those are the clues that tell you that your motivation, behind your motivations, there are some beliefs and attitudes. And for beliefs and attitudes, we believe them to be truth. And we kind of obey them. We take them as rules, and our behavior becomes a result of our beliefs and attitudes. But then we meet somebody who doesn't believe the same thing we do, and we say, how come you don't believe that? So sometimes we have these arguments because we see worlds in different ways, because we have different beliefs and attitudes. There are also some other answers to the questions why we do some things. Some people, sometimes if you ask them maybe why they are doing the job they are doing, they will tell you because it has something to do with I will get something valuable from this. So what could be something valuable? Well, from business you could get some money, some success, some status, but you could also from some other occasions and even from your business get some friends, get some inner satisfaction, get some joy, get some amusement. So if you value joy, amusement, or money, or success, then this will be something that motivates you. So we have value systems. That is the answer to this will get me more of something that feels valuable to me. And if you ask me why I do my job, I will probably tell you something like, well, that is who I am. Even when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a teacher. Then I studied to be a teacher at school, but I end up working at Creativa, where I am not a teacher at school. But what I do workshops, trainings, I teach adults in their business, and I also teach my colleagues at work. So I am a kind of teacher, although I'm not a teacher, don't have that job title. And when I think, okay, sometimes I'm tired, I don't want to work anymore, I want to get a rest, what could I do when I didn't have to work? If I had all the money and I could take a long, long, long vacation, what would I do? And then, of course, I have some ideas about vacation, but afterwards I think, well, again, I would like to teach, because it somehow feels that that is me. So some of our motivation comes from a very deep sense of who we are. We identify ourselves with some roles, and then that is why we behave in the way we do. And for some people, sometimes they tell us not only that I feel this is me, I feel somehow that is my purpose in this world to do that. Some artists say, I paint because if I don't paint, then I go, well, I don't feel good because I have to paint to be okay. But also they say, I have this talent, I was born with this talent, and I feel kind of a duty to give something back to the community with this of my talent. So I produced artwork, and those who like it, those who don't, that's okay, but those who like it, and that is my contribution to the world. So sometimes the answer is, I do it because I have this feeling I have to contribute to the world in this way. That is my inner sense of purpose. So when we talk about motivation, the thing is, all of this is motivation. So it is quite a complicated story behind why we do things in the way we do it. So I cannot tell you everything about motivation today, and I chose to tell you just a little bit about something that has to do a little bit with our behavioral patterns, a little bit with our beliefs and attitudes, and somewhat has to do with some of our value system. And while I was thinking about preparing this presentation, I had the funniest dream. I dreamt that there were 3 Peruvian musicians who came at Creativa here in Zagreb to visit me at my firm. And we all had great time because they played and we had fun and it was super. And then after an hour, we sat down and I had a chance to talk to them a little bit. And I asked them, so how is your life? Do you travel a lot? They said, yes, we are almost always on a trip somewhere. And I asked, for how many years have you been playing like this, like a group? They said, oh, it's almost 10 years now that the 3 of us are a group. And then I asked them, so do you like your job, what you're doing? Yes, we love it, it's great. And I said, is it sometimes hard? I imagine you have to practice a lot to be such good musicians. And they said, oh yes, sometimes it is hard. We have to practice a lot. And they said, we practice for an hour, 2, 3, 4, 5, and sometimes even 10 hours a day. And I was like, 10 hours a day? Who does that? Are you mad? And then I asked them, why? Why do you practice so much? And then the first guy, whose name is Pedro, he told me, well, you know, I play this flute. And I actually want to be the best I can be at this playing flute. So I practice each day to be the best I can. Sometimes when I was sick and I couldn't practice or play for 2 days, my performance level went down. And I felt, oh, I suck, this is terrible. I need to practice a lot to be again the good musician, to play the flute nicely. So that is why I practice every day, to keep up my performance and to get better and better each day. And I said, okay, that makes sense. You want to be the best you can at what you do, so you have to practice a lot. And then I looked at the other one. His name was Alejandro, and he plays guitar. And I asked him, are you the same? And he said, oh, no, no. I'm not interested in being the best I can. I actually like playing with this crowd. I like being a member of this group. And that is why I also have to practice. Because if they practice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and sometimes even 10 hours a day, and I don't, what will happen in a while that my performance level will get lower. They will be excellent, I won't, and they will tell me, look, Alejandro, you can no longer be a part of our group. You are not good enough for us. We'll find another guitar player. So that is why I also practice a lot. And then the third guy, I looked at him, his name was Juan, and I looked at him and he said, I know what your question will be. And he said, well, you know, I'm the guy who started this group. I was their founder, and in a way, I'm still a leader of this group. When we play, I play violin, I'm like first violin, so when we start starting, they look at me and I give them a nod, and now we'll start. And if we have some dilemma, if we were going to play this song a little bit faster or a little bit slower, they usually come to me and say, look, Juan, what do you think? They see me kind of a mentor. So I'm the leader and their mentor, and actually, I really enjoy that role. I really like being a leader and a mentor. And if I think they practice a lot each day, and if I didn't, what would happen one day? They would say, Juan, you can no longer be our mentor and leader because now we know more than you and we are better than you. So how can you be our mentor and leader? And that is why I also practice each day for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and sometimes even 10 hours. And if you look at these three, our friends from Peru, what you can see that they have something in common. They like playing, they're musicians, and they practice a lot. So their behavior is quite the same. But the reasons they do it are quite different. They have different motivational preference. They have different mechanisms that push them to do the things they do and to behave in that way. So we'll now reveal to you what these types are and then connect it to the cases where your co-workers might be one of these types, when you're trying to sell something to one of these types, and at the end something a little bit what could happen if you're maybe living or sailing in one of these types. So the first one, Pedro, is an example of a profile that we call those who are oriented toward achievement and success. That means those persons want to do things best they can. They don't compete with others so much as with themselves or with some standards they have. And they want to do things better, faster. They want, if we are talking about earning money, they will probably be motivated to earn more, and more, or to have more clients. So they always want to achieve more. And the mechanism their mind works is, I set myself a goal, a target that I want to achieve. It seems to me that it is not very easy to achieve, but that I can do it. And then when I do that, I feel successful. So this success by itself is a reward. So what these people always have in mind is the question, can I really achieve that goal? Can I really reach that target? And if the answer is, of course I can. I did it yesterday, then they will say, oh, that's not motivating me enough because that's boring. I know I can do it. But if the answer is, well, I think I could, I haven't done it yet, but I think if I put much effort in that, if I try, if I practice, I think I might do it. I feel competent to try. Then that will be motivating for them. And when they succeed, that will be a great feeling of success. So I did something I couldn't do yesterday. But if the answer to the question, can I really achieve that goal? Can I really reach that target is, no, I think I can't, then they will not go that way. They will find some other target. They will say, okay, this is not interesting. Why? Because if I try on something that I don't think I will succeed, and I don't succeed, what happens is I don't get the feeling of success. So I don't get that reward. So they're kind of calculated people. They are thinking, where does it make sense to put my effort in to reach something that I couldn't reach yesterday, to gain some more profit, some more better result. But if it is too high, they say, okay, I won't do that. So that is the type like Pedro. And the type like Alejandro is a quite different type. Those people are mostly oriented toward affiliation, which means belonging to a group, and good relationships. So though they are the types that always think about other people, their needs, always want to help, and they're interested in socializing, in understanding others, in talking to them, and they want to feel like they are part of a group. And what really is in their mind all the time is, how does that really make you feel? So sometimes they can even worry too much about how other people feel, but they will be empathetic, they will be good listeners, they will be interested in what happens to other people. Those are the people who ask you, how are you? And then they listen to you and you feel good because somebody finally listened to how you are. So that is our type, Alejandro. And the third type are Juan, is an example of a person who is mostly oriented toward influence, power, or dominance. Actually, we could say there are some subtypes in this group, but to make it more simplified, I will tell you as there are one group. Because they all have one thing in common. The thing they have in common is that they are motivated with some goal for which they need other people. Either it is a goal for which I need people, or it is a goal that will reflect on other people. So the situation might be, I would like to be a leader, okay, of a group, just for the sake of it, just to be a leader. So what I need a group of people that will follow me. I cannot be a leader if I don't have followers. Or the situation could be, we are a group of people and we got lost, and I'm the only one who knows the direction where we want to go. And I will take the role of the leader because I want to help all of us as a group to find our way. So I wasn't motivated just to be the leader for the sake of it, but I somehow ended up being the leader. And in this group, you will find people of all kinds of types who are actually always thinking about how can I get you on board with my idea. And that can be various things. It can be I'm interested in selling you something. So I'm thinking, how can I get you to buy what I sell? It can be, I am an entertainer, maybe a magician. So my thought is, how do I get you to think that what I'm doing is funny and to feel joyful and to feel entertained? So again, I'm thinking about how do I get you on board. And also at this moment, what I'm thinking is how to get your attention, how to get you to listen what I'm saying, how to get you to think about what you heard, and in the end, how to get you to do something useful for yourself with what I share for you. So at this moment, I'm also trying to influence you. Sometimes people from this crowd, some of them might be really obvious because their main idea is, I want to influence you so you see me as somebody powerful, someone dominant, someone important. So they tend to be very, look at me, so you cannot miss them. But there are only maybe 3% of those in this group. In this group you have some very nice people, some people who are thinking about how to make the world better. So if you want to change the world, you cannot do it alone, you need other people. So maybe you will start an action, or you will think about how can I contribute to a change that is larger than myself. So our Juan was an example of the people from this group. So do you maybe know some of these people? Maybe you recognize somebody you work with, or somebody you want to sell to, or somebody you live with or sail with, or maybe even yourself. I imagine some of you have some thoughts, well, this looks like I know this type. And now I will give you some tips what to do if you recognize that your coworkers are one of these types. So first of all, if you recognize your coworker to be the one who is motivated mostly by achievement and success, here are some thoughts for you. If you are maybe their boss and you give them tasks, it is good that you give them a measurable goal that they have to achieve. Which means if you have a person that is, let's say, in charge for your marketing and you're their boss and you want to push them to achieve a goal, don't tell them, I know you have a mailing list and you want to make to have more people on that mailing list. Don't tell them just let's make our mailing list bigger. Let's get more people on it. Give them a number, or tell them in 3 months I want us to double the number of people we have on our mailing list. Or if you have a person that is in charge of, I don't know, selling, and you tell them, okay, we need to sell more this year than the last year. Don't tell them just more. Tell them how much more in numbers, in profit, in income, or maybe in number of clients that you will gain. So numbers are good kind of measure for these people. But even if you are not the boss of them, you are only colleagues working together, from time to time there will be occasions where you talk about who will do what, and you will maybe tell them, do this. You will kind of give them a task. So when you're giving a task to these profile people, explain the task. So what does explain a task mean? Let's say now, at this moment, I ask all of you to write me a letter. So you're now thinking, first of all, you're thinking, how come you're that task? What is that? But then the next thing you are probably thinking is, what kind of letter does she want? An email, or a handwritten, or a typed mail? Or does she want a long letter or a short letter? Do I start with Dear Zrinka or Dear Madam? In English or in my native language? So there are so many questions about what does write me a letter mean. And when you are talking with this type of people, what they want is to be as successful as they can in everything they do. So if there are some of you who are this profile people, and you really want to write me a good letter, so you would really benefit if I told you some of the criteria I would have when evaluating your letter. So that is why when we talk to these people, even we are not their bosses, we are co-workers, it is always better to explain the task and the job we want them to do. When they succeed, celebrate success with them. That is probably obvious, but sometimes useful to say, because the feeling of success is what is really rewarding for them. The bonus and the money that comes afterwards are very welcome, but the feeling of success itself is the one that is primarily the motivating factor, so be the one who celebrates that with them. And provide feedback, which means that you should tell them what worked and what didn't work, what you liked and what you didn't like. Of course, nobody likes to be always told what doesn't work and what we didn't like, so be sure you tell them also what you like and what works. But for this type of people, they're not so sensitive about feedback as some other types. They really appreciate when you tell them, okay, this is what I like, this and this works when we cooperate, and this I would like us to change. Why? Because when you tell them this is what I like to change, it is kind of like when you explain them what does a good letter mean, you're giving them clues what they could do to improve and to be more successful in cooperating with you. And in the end, because these people are always trying to be excellent, what they do, they mostly know a lot. So be useful for yourself and learn from them, because there is probably much you could learn. If you have a coworker who is motivated by the affiliation and relationship, the first, the cheapest, and the most important thing you can do is ask them, how are you? And then listen to what they say, and then remember at least a little bit of what they told you. This goes also for the clients who are this type, of course. Because these people are emotion-driven, relationship-driven, they want somebody who will talk to them about themselves and as persons, that will happen to them in life, not only about business. Also, they are the ones that usually come to you and want to help you. So from time to time, give that back. Come to them and ask them, can I help you? What can I do to make you feel better at this team? And when you find that they are really useful to you in some ways, that you like working with them, or they do in some occasions something that is really you appreciate a lot, say it aloud. Thank you for doing this, this, and this, that really helped me, or thank you for always being coworker that is on time and I can rely on, and that is somebody who helps me. But be honest and be specific, and tell something that has really to do with that person. Don't tell something you could tell everybody, because if you say something that you would tell to everybody, then it has no value at all. Take time to chit-chat or small talk, because that is the time when we relate to each other, not when we are very focused on business. And provide as much as you can direct contact. So those who are here now are in a direct contact with me, and those who are online, I can wave to you, but you are not as much as in a direct contact. But that's still better than if we were only on the phone, or if you were only reading what I am now saying. So if you cannot have direct contact, maybe you can have a video call, and if not, you can maybe have a simple phone call. That is still better than writing an email. So the first thing, if you cooperate with these people, you give them tasks by sending them a short email, so they have no contact with you. What will probably happen is that they will call you, and then you will explain. And in the end, for these people, sometimes this need to small talk and chit chat can go, we'll lose focus. So sometimes you have to be the person to say, okay, now we had our time to chit chat, and now let's focus on work. If you have a coworker who is mostly motivated by influence or power or dominance, here are some tricks and tips for that one as well. First of all, they mostly, almost all of them, not everyone, but almost all of them enjoy spotlight roles, which means that, for example, I'm now in a spotlight role. Those are the roles when somebody is presenting, or somebody is the one that is pushed forward to be seen. If you are giving an interview for some magazine, then maybe that person would like to be the one whose picture will be in the magazine and whose quotation will be in the magazine. Or if you have selling presentations somewhere, those people will enjoy the role of presenting. So they like spotlight roles, maybe you can use that. As the success itself is rewarding for the people who are success-oriented, so are spotlight roles itself rewarding for these people. So you don't have to pay them extra to be in that magazine. They will love being in a magazine. That will be a reward for yourself. The next thing you can do, if they know something you don't, ask them to be your mentor. So you can learn from all types, but when you are learning from this type, it could be useful to emphasize that you want them to be the one who teach you, because that is also kind of a role that you put them in, and it is a kind of a role that suits them, that they like. And the next thing is, well, almost nobody likes to be told, do this and do it that way. But this profile people especially don't like when you tell them, do this and do it that way. They need to be the one who make decisions. So when you are having a discussion who will do what, maybe it's better that you offer them to choose from 1 or 2 or 3 jobs, and then they decide. So give them options so they can decide. Or tell them we need to do this, but you can decide in which way we will do it. So make them the one who will decide about how. And ask and listen. So ask them how they are, what they think about idea, what ideas they have, and then listen. With no hidden agenda what you will hear. Just listen very openly, because when they talk, they will give you a little clues about how they think, what is important for them, what are their ideas, and that will help you to do the next step, and that is to sometimes sell your idea to them. It might be difficult because these type of people are usually those who are great at selling. They are persuasive and they are good sellers. And they also, many of them like to talk a lot. So you kind of need a tool to be better seller than them in order to sell your idea to them. And the tool you can use is the one I told you previously. Ask them questions and then listen to what they'll say. If you maybe were yesterday listening to Chris, his presentation about how asking question for selling person is very important. He was also emphasizing this fact. And in the end, because I listen to you, then I put an argument that is especially for you, and that is the way I sell you, could be really difficult, especially if you are not this type. At the end, I'll give you one cheap trick, and that is from time to time, just tell them, please, you do this because you do this better. As I told you, it's a cheap trick. It won't work all the time, but from time to time it will flatter them and they will be fine, and you can use that one as well. So that is if they are your co-workers. Now let's see what if you are trying to sell to one of these types. So what we need to think about is, okay, how can we use this to make our selling proposals more fit to the profile of our customers in case we somehow recognize them as one of these three types. And if you recognize them as those who are mostly oriented on achievement and success, bear in mind that what you sell to them, your product and your service, must somehow help them be more successful. So how do you do that? Well, one of the things is that you have the best solution. So if they want to, I don't know, sail the fastest yacht, and you have the fastest yacht, so you have the best solution for them. Or when your product and your service really have high quality, you can emphasize that, because with high quality, it is most probably we will be successful in whatever we do. But sometimes it can be about selling them a story that will help them see how with your product or service they will be most successful. For example, so I imagine many of your customers come to you when they go on a vacation, when they plan on vacation, and some of them are people who are very successful business people or who want to be very successful business people. So what you can tell them, that with using your services and your products, they will have a chance to have the best vacation and relaxation ever, and whoever wants to be successful needs some time to work and some time to relax. So this is best solution to relax, because after a good vacation, a good relaxation, you can be even better at what you do. In order to do that, you have to be a little bit imaginative, and you of course have to think of your story. What about those who are mostly affiliation-oriented, people-oriented, relationship-oriented? I think you already know this because it is quite obvious. The thing we have to take in mind that the way we treat them is the most important thing, and it must feel good for them. So it is all about our client or customer relationship management. Do we follow up with our clients? Do we have some more direct contact, or is it all through email? If it is all through email, can we make it more a little bit personalized? Can we from time to time call these customers? And maybe you have, I don't know, notification, it's a birthday for this customer, so you send them a greeting card. So that is a kind of a nice thing to do for your customer relationship service. Also, what is important for these people is that they must feel that I can trust you, so I will go with you if I can trust you. So maybe you can put some testimonials on website that will give you credibility, and they will see that they can trust you. And in the end, when we connect to other people, most often it is because we like them because we are alike. We find something in common, and then we say, oh, this is a good person. He's like me. So use small talks, use chit-chats, be in open conversation with these people, and trying to find connecting dots with you personally. Maybe, I don't know, your greatest destination you would want to visit ever in your life. Maybe you find out it's the same, or at least it's the same continent, very close, similar destinations. So this would be a good touch point with your client. Or I don't know, maybe you both have kids who are proper similar age, so that could be another thing that you are alike. So try to find those touch points where you are similar to your clients, and then talk a little bit about your similarities. And then they will have this feeling, okay, this one is like me, I can trust, I feel good and confident, and I will go with them. And if your clients are the ones who are mostly power or influence or dominance oriented, bear in mind that your product or service must somehow let them be more powerful, influential, or important. So here is some ways of doing that. If you can make some custom-made offer for them, something that is made specially for them and for nobody else, that of course makes them feel more important. Or if they want a yacht you don't have in your fleet, but you will find someone you can partner with in order to provide them the service they really want it, so they will appreciate your special effort. So try to treat them as they were the only customer ever. So we don't have a standard procedure for everyone. You have just for this one the special procedure. Also, if you have a good client list, good reference list, it might seem like they will be in a good company. So put up your clients list and let them see who also uses your services. And of course, the third thing shouldn't be very hard to do if you are in yacht charter business, because it is a lot about prestige. So put in front, make it more seeable how this is about prestige, because prestige is always something that we can easily rely on if we are this type of motivation profile. So that is for a little bit if you are trying to sell to one of these types. And at the end, I will shortly tell you something about problems that might occur if you are living or maybe sailing with one of these types. And I hope at the end we will have some time for questions. So those who are online, you can maybe start typing your questions. So if you are living or sailing with somebody who is success-driven, bear in mind that those people need to be excellent in everything, and that they have high expectations not only from themselves, but also from you. So sometimes that might be very tiresome for you, because they will be demanding and they will be very demanding to you as well. Also, when they go on a vacation, for many of them, vacation is also a task. They have to be very successful on a vacation as well. So if you are not this type, that might be something that bothers you. And sometimes it might seem like they have no feeling for others. That is not because they are mean people. That is simply because they have this target, they are running towards it, and if you get in the way, they will push you aside. But not because they don't like you, but simply because they are on the road for their target. If you are living or maybe sailing with somebody who is relationship-driven type, they will always want to do everything together, which is fine if you are the same type. But if you are not, maybe you would like to divide tasks so you are more efficient. So this will be annoying. And also, relationship management takes time. So you need to have time to have a coffee with them, to call them, and to ask them how they are. They might sometimes expect you to read their heart, their mind, how they are feeling, because that is what they always do for others, so they expect you to do the same. So what you could do in this case is just simply tell them, I'm not like you, sorry, I cannot do that. If you feel something, tell me how you feel. I will listen to you, but I cannot read your minds. Of course, there is always time for coffee, and if you don't like coffee, tea, or beer, or whatever their favorite drink is, that might be a problem. And with these people, they sometimes worry too much about other people's need. So also, sometimes it could be annoying. They're always asking you, are you okay? And it seems like you had an argument, and you say, no, we are fine, I'm not angry. And they come, but maybe you are even a little bit angry, sometimes bothering you, so that could be annoying. And of course, you will find your way out of it, and just simply tell them when something bothers you. And if you do that, then they will get used that you tell them when something is wrong. They don't have to think all the time that something is wrong. And if you come up living or sailing with those who are mostly power influenced and dominance driven, well, they want to win all the time. So be prepared that you will have to be fast as yacht, or if you will be playing cards on yacht, that they will want to win in playing cards. So whatever they do, they want to win. And they can be very persuasive, which is good. Sometimes you need somebody who is persuasive, but sometimes if they are persuading you, you get lost in what you wanted. Also, some of them sometimes might seem or even be pushy or aggressive. So what you need to do is be confident with yourself and not let them intimidate you. They need an opponent, so how can I win if nobody fights with me? So sometimes they will have this approach like, why won't you fight with me? So sometimes maybe for a game's sake, just fight with them with words, not with fists, a little bit, and let them win. So that will be win-win situation. And in the end, they are good at seeing other people's need, but sometimes they might use that skill in order to manipulate to get what they want. So be aware, take care of yourself, don't let them manipulate you into things you didn't want to do. Just think, say, okay, I'll think about it. Take your time, take a break, and then you'll come up with, okay, there is something behind it. I don't really want to agree with that. Or you do. So for the end, my last question to you is, are you some of what these types? Did you recognize yourself? And while you are thinking about that question, I'm ready to answer maybe one or two of your questions, if there are some. Okay, and if there are no questions, then I thank you for listening to this presentation. I will be around. Maybe I can answer some of your questions in the lobby with a coffee and a little bit of chit-chat. Thank you very much.